Canon law or God's law, the war over the fourth commandment. There's a war being waged in churches, in pulpits, in seminaries, and in your very soul. Not with swords, but with laws. Not with bullets, but with doctrines. A war between canon law and God's law. And at the heart of the battlefield lies one commandment, the fourth. Remember the Sabbath day, to keep it holy. But the question is, whose law will you obey? God's law written in stone, or man's law written in church councils? To every pastor, priest, imam, skeptic, and Sunday keeper, you boldly declare Sunday as the Christian day of worship. But ask yourself, who authorized that change? It wasn't God. It wasn't Christ. It wasn't the apostles. The change came from Rome, from canon law, from men who dared to tamper with what God had sanctified. The Catechism of the Catholic Church admits it openly. The Church transferred the observance of the Sabbath to Sunday. Canon 29 of the Council of Laodicea, AD 364, ordered Christians to work on Saturday and honor Sunday instead. That's not God's law, that's religious tyranny. Scripture proof. What does the Bible say? The seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. Exodus 20:10. I gave them my Sabbaths to be a sign between me and them. Ezekiel 20:12. The Son of Man is Lord also of the Sabbath. Mark 2:28. That's God's law. That's the fourth commandment, written by God's own finger in stone, not pen on papal parchment. Nowhere in Scripture is the Sabbath changed. Nowhere does God say, keep the first day holy. Nowhere does Jesus say, forget my day and keep Rome's. Historical evidence. The Catholic Church itself claims authority for the change. In the Convert's Catechism of Catholic Doctrine, 1957, Peter Geiermann wrote, Q. Which is the Sabbath day? A. Saturday is the Sabbath day. Q. Why do we observe Sunday instead of Saturday? A. Because the Catholic Church transferred the solemnity from Saturday to Sunday. Did you catch that? Not God, not the Bible, the Catholic Church. And yet Protestants, who claim to follow sola scriptura, bow to this unbiblical change. They preach the commandments, but throw out the only one that begins with, remember. Imagine Jesus, the Lord of the Sabbath, watching his people call a man-made day holy, while his day, the one he blessed at creation, is mocked, ignored, and replaced. Imagine standing before the judge of the universe and saying, I kept Sunday because my denomination said it was okay. And he replies, why do you also transgress the commandment of God by your tradition? Matthew 15:3. You wouldn't accept a counterfeit $100 bill. So why accept a counterfeit day of worship? This isn't just about a day. It's about authority. It's about who rules your life, Christ or Constantine, God's law or canon law. Here's your challenge. Show one verse where God changed the Sabbath from Saturday to Sunday. Show one verse where Jesus abolished the fourth commandment. Show one verse where the apostles replaced God's Sabbath with Sunday. You can't. But history can show you when and where it happened. AD 321, Constantine's Sunday law. AD 364, canon law enforcing Sunday worship. So the question is, will you obey God's law or man's law? Will you follow the word or follow tradition? Because this war is real, and neutrality is not an option. The fourth commandment still stands, and in the final judgment, you won't be judged by canon law, but by God's law. Choose wisely, because eternity is at stake.